I am the Commissar, that's my name. Forged alliance forever, that's the game. Who have we got with a claim to fame? 6 players are fighting it out today in a 3v3 ladder match. Let's go on and meet them. We have the cold team in the north, we have the hot team in the south. Ooh, Fletcher obviously has a bit of a beef with Bjorn here. Let's see whether it makes them do anything rash. Speaking of Fletcher, let's introduce him. Here he is going first for the cold team. He is 1163 rated. He's playing UEF in mauve. To his right, this is CZXXZ, who, how am I going to pronounce that? I'm going to call him Chiz, because that's how they spelt the Peacemaker in the anime Scrapped Princess, which I recommend, it's very good. And over here we have NNTTXX, who I'm going to call NTX. He is 1116 rated, he's Cybran, he is dark blue, and he has opened first air. Haven't seen that for a while, a bit of a first air play. Down here, and already walking off into the distance into the east, we have Banan2, who is 1316 rated, playing Seraphim in orange. To his right, and sauntering up onto the cliff top in the distance there, we see zaebahy, who is 805 rated, he's playing Eon in red. And last but not least, here is Bjorn, who has also gone first air. He is 1147 rated, he's playing UEF in burgundy. Quick look at the map. So the first interesting thing to note is these ponds, which block off passage here and here, so you can get around there, but you can't get around there. And then there's these 2 causeways up the middle, and you can get through this chasm in the middle too. Reclaim. Quite decent clutches on these corners here, and also a very decent amount in the middle. It's mostly in the form of rocks, so just engineers zooming around, hoovering that up. That's going to be pretty important. I expect this reclaim to go mainly to the hot team and this to the cold team, but this will be contested. So, have we got any interesting early plays? Banan is the earliest by far to be going out with his comm. Fletcher a bit slow, but Fletcher is already loading up a transport. Let's see where it goes. NTX and Bjorn staying in their bases for now, and zaebahy looks like he's heading for this expansion, whereas looks like Fletcher wants to take this expansion. Early bomber out from NTX. The bomber is presumably looking for NGs expanding here or here, but unfortunately for him, it's only really going to find comms, which it's not going to be able to do much against. So Fletcher's transport is going to be dropping this expansion here, while Fletcher's comm comes forward here. And Bjorn's also got a transport, and he's trying to aggressively drop this expansion here, but Fletcher's comm is on its way there, and will probably be able to shut it down. Labs trickling up the middle from zaebahy. Meanwhile, I see the wrecks of 2 engineers there for that bomber from NTX. He comes back, gets no more kills, and then a fighter pops out on his tail and shoots him down. These labs, they're raiding in, but are they going to get much damage because they're trickling one at a time? Lab response from Chiz. The drop from Bjorn has immediately put out a PD, which it rings with wars. Fletcher's comm is on his way in and will soon encounter this, and he immediately shoots this one. Will he prevent this going up? He would not actually prevent this going up. All the engineers die, but there's 2 PDs there, and he's losing hit points quite fast. This one's going to die quite quickly with no walls to protect it. But Fletcher here is already down to just half his starting health. However, there's nothing else really to threaten him, so I think he's going to clear that up with no problems. Seeing that he's trickling into the face of spam being slightly more concentrated here from Chiz and a bit from Fletcher, zaebahy backed off for a bit, but he looks like he's going in again. Maybe I think he's trying to raid across here. Now, I mean, this could get something done, because there's only engineers here to defend. Let's see if it gets any work done. First upgrade on the way for zaebahy. He's going T2. These labs come up here rather than pushing in. They could have got some work done here, but nope, they headed up that way, and Chiz's labs and tanks engaged, and we're back to a trickle from zaebahy, which is just going to get eaten by that lot. Bjorn also engaging in bomber shenanigans. We've had a lot of early bomber play, but this bomb was created right at the start by Banan, but it just messed around, did nothing, and now it's going to die to that fighter. So I have been disappointed in this early bomber malarkey. A lot of people have done it. Nobody's really achieved anything big with it. 2 NGs from NTX, but where's this boy going? He's just flying over anti-air there, and he's not getting anything done with it. Oh, zaebahy still has his gather point up here. Please, my dude, mash them here and then push. But he doesn't, and they run into this clutch, which... But that's a lot of labs compared... And it might not get a great deal of traction. Also, these are rolls which do outrange the cyber and stuff belonging to Chiz. But they don't outrange these Medusa, though. zaebahy will have to be careful with his micro, and it's becoming obvious that he is not being careful with his micro. Meanwhile, Bjorn's bomber has claimed this mech, so it looks like it's coming back for this engineer. Oh, but the engineer dodges nicely, and inties from Fletcher take the bomber out. Looks like we have both Bjorn and Banan going for air in the hot team, whereas in the cold team we have... Well, NTX said he was doing air in the chat at the beginning, but he hasn't upgraded yet, so there could be an air advantage in the hands of the hot team. Now, this push from Fletcher, I'm not sure I like it. It's let these boys pass, though again we're seeing a trickle from zaebahy. And it's just walked straight into a PD and comm from Bjorn, but they are faster than Bjorn because comm. And they might actually claim the mechs. They do claim the mechs. I still think they could have been better used going in this direction, or backing up Chiz's spam. Bjorn making a small attempt to amass some units here, but that's not enough with a few labs to stop Fletcher's comm, despite his damage. And what's this? We have a naval yard going down for zaebahy, followed immediately by a T2 missile launcher. So that's 2 pretty unusual plays here. A naval yard on this tiny little pond, and a T2 missile launcher. What could he range with that T2 missile launcher? Well, all of the expansion from NTX, that's for sure, and that could be a good target. He could also range these, though I see he's also got a bomber attacking that. Will that survive very long? No, it will not. It won't get even a single mech kill. NTX sending units around the outside here. These are Oblivions that zaebahy has queued up. I don't like that at all. Look at the positioning of that hill and the only route that NTX is going to be coming round. These will be just firing into the hill against most of NTX's spam, and I think that's a bit of a waste. However, he has decent amount of forces coming up through the middle on all these channels. Another bomber comes over and does more damage to that same mech, but another bomber is shot down. And another bomber. If at first you don't succeed, is that going to pay off here? He does claim that mechs in the end, but it took 3 bombers to do it, and it's only a T1 mechs. And NTX brings his comm forward through the water while his troops move around the side. Fletcher also brings his comm forward along the edge. Some engineers trying to be sneaky from Bjorn, but they're just walking into this PD here and dying. So these mechs have all died thanks to the bomber and lab harassment, but I think that Chiz will soon claim them back as this army comes forth. There's also a couple of anti-airs in here which should be able to take on the bomber. This force feels dangerous though, there's more of it. And these Oblivions are going to have trouble hitting it. Chiz has got to have enough spam here to see all this off, yes. And watch this. NTX just walks up to the naval yard, which is halfway to T2. That's quite a resource investment. And he just reclaims it. Ouch. zaebahy not happy about that. And he immediately queued up a loads of torps to get rid of NTX from the water here. It looks like because of the production that zaebahy has here with 4 factories, it's enough to keep off NTX's spam, at least for now. Though he is massing a bit more of a force here. zaebahy has also brought his spam across here, but I don't think it's going to find much traction because he hasn't got any arty in here and there are PDs. I mean, sure, it's still AT1 mechs, but this lot is going to clear it all up. Quite a hefty emplacement here. We've got a flak, a triad, TMD. Fletcher has pushed his way up here, but he doesn't feel like he's got much to go any further. He is bringing riptides across, though. It's a bit of amphi-tank work. And with these torpedo launchers, zaebahy has put up a naval yard again. NTX's spam continues to come this way, but I saw some... I thought it was Oblivion fire, but I'm obviously mistaken. Either way, NTX's spam is not getting any work here, and that missile launcher is firing. Kills a factory. These boys look like they're just out for... Okay, those boys are out for weekend. This boy's out for mix, but that's a decent wave of spam coming in from Chiz, and Chiz also has a decent amount on this side. So, I don't know if zaebahy has enough here to stop these two forces coming in, and we've also got a clutch of riptides heading in to support this sort across the water from Fletcher. Meanwhile, a mech goes down to the TML, but again, it's only T1. And for 2 shots, that's only killed 276 mass. I don't think that's paying for itself. Here, the clutch of spam is enough to find its way through. We're seeing our first Ilshevels out from Banan, and those Ilshis should be able to eat this sort up. Another shot from the TML. It looks like it's going for this mech, but this, and it will get through, but this mech is also T1. So here are the Ilshis engaging on this side over here. Then you push down the other side with the riptides in support. It's going to get a bit more done. It's taking out T2 mexes and a T1 mex there. Was that one T2? Don't know. It's been completely destroyed. Is how it is. What's happened to it? And it has taken out all the mexes and all the factories here, and that might put a dent in zaebahy's eco. That said, NTX's eco is the worst at the moment, and is he suffering power trouble? He is not. No, he's just not got a great eco. Meanwhile, this factory has been brought up to T2 and is producing a destroyer for zaebahy. And the Ilshis have headed over here and are shooting these up. There are also gunships from Banan in there, and I'm not seeing a great deal of anti-air to stop them, so the gunship should finish the job. But that's 4 mexes and 3 factories done for these boys, who are... maybe 5 mexes if that dies, and at least 2 of them, if not 3, were T2. but more and more gunships trickle out. There's no air presence coming across from Fletcher or from NTX, although we've got a decent number of and that's a lot of Corsairs. Let's keep an eye on those. Those Corsairs would be a perfect response to this Destro, if you ask me. Just bring them out, shoot the Destro, go back, and that Destro doesn't have anything to do, whereas as things stand, it can probably range this entire base. These artillery have actually got a decent way in, and but they haven't taken out any of the mexes, so they've killed a bit of the cap. Close though. Another trickle of riptides from Fletcher, but with these gunships they're not going to get anything done. NTX massing up here, but he can't get down there. That's the only way off this little plateau. This destroyer is focusing the trickle of spam coming across here when it needs to be firing into here. I'm sure it can range that. Yeah, look, it can range that whole thing, but it hasn't scouted recently, so it doesn't know that this has been rebuilt. I say it, zaebahy hasn't scouted recently. Here come the Corsairs. They've just wiped this out in one pass, and they're heading straight on for Banan's base. This could be a problem for Banan. He's got his own fighters, but these are fighter bombers, and they're backed up by a bunch of fighters. And oof, look at that! That shield goes up just in time. The Corsairs make a turn. Another one dies, but there's still a few Corsairs left. And they start picking off some of these sentry mechs as well. So Banan is losing mass like anything. Look at this. We'll take a look at the eco in a moment, but this is brutal. 2 mechs is down in his main base, 5 mechs is down over here, that mech's down. Look at this. That is a 70 mass per tick lead for the cold team after that little attack, and there's still actually a Corsair messing around. Make that 2. Another one. The situation just gets worse and worse for Banan. Another Riptide raid from Fletcher, but those gunships are still there and they stop it. This Destro needs to come over here and then see what's going on over there. A second Destro comes out. Definitely doubling down on this. Okay, I say doubling down in that, yes, he's doubled. He has 2 destroyers, but he has stopped producing now, which I think is wise, because there's only so much that destroyers on this teensy little pond can do. So these Riptide raids have indeed been shut down by the gunships. But Fletcher has started making Percies. Stomp, stomp, stomp. And those Percies, of course, are also amphibious, and they can come through here, and if they just pop out of the water in sufficient numbers, might cause a bit of a problem for Bjorn. And now the cold team eco lead is 100 there. 100. That said, the hot team have collected more overall, so that turnaround in the eco from the Corsair raid was definitely something that the cold team needed. And that TML is on 7 kills. There was at least 7 shots, but only 438 mass kill. I think that has definitely been a waste. Oh, but there we go. Look at this. These destroyers have eaten all this up and forced NTX back, and NTX is again the one short stacking on mass, thanks to having been driven off here, whereas Bjorn holds this reasonably securely with a shield, flak, triads, TMDs. NTX is saying that both these players are air players. Is that another destroyer he's got on the way? Seems possibly a cruiser. A cruiser would be useful. I don't reckon. I'm not very good at Eon Navy. I don't recognise the thumbnail. And I'm seeing TMLs taking out factories there, but again, not doing a great deal. Why is he aiming here? That seems like a waste of a shot. Ooh, and here is T3 Air from Bjorn, which is eating up those inties from NTX. Fletcher has T3 Air and a T3 PJ, and NTX also has T3 Air, so they will have some T3 Air with the air. They're just coming out now. They just don't have it yet. And so, oh, and Banani also has T3 Air, so definitely the air in control of the south for now. And what's this sneaky little drop I see coming around here? Looks like artillery from Zaebahy. Oh, but Chiz has seen it coming and he moves his spam immediately to intercept. The drop lands, and it gets off a round of fire, which will do a bit of damage to some of these mexes, but will it kill any? It will not. Not a single mex dies, and that drop is just crushed. Nice little use of the floaty here, as this will shut down any engineers coming back to that base. But there are 2 comms here, so being aggressive with that spam, as zaebahy is, it may not pay off. Chiz has a monkey under construction here. And he is massing a reasonable force of bricks and not an insignificant number of bouncers, so monkey with that much anti-air support, before we have any XPs out from the other side, could do some decent damage. The Aurori are just posturing for now. They can't come this way because of the comm, they can't come this way because of the comm, so what you gonna do? And Chiz has sent some loyalists to stop this. They might kill this mex if they're lucky, but I think that the loyalists will deal with them first, especially as they've stopped moving. And the monkey lord is finished. That's our first experimenter of the game. So scouting going on is nice. Always nice to see a bit of scouting. Now, Cold Team still have that eco lead. It's not quite as epic. It's down to 70, but that's still pretty significant. And that force that we saw earlier is coming forward and heading down the middle, and it's got stealth with it. This trickle won't even take that lot, let alone stop this mass of hoplites, missile launchers, rhinos, and has he got any bricks in there? Not yet, but here comes the main mass of T3 and a monkey lord. Do they know it's coming? They actually knew for a while. Was Chiz having power issues? Yeah, he was. So the stealth must have dropped for a little while there. And actually we saw that they knew what it was, so they must have scouted it as well. Oh, but this is quite nice though. That TML is shooting out here and is claiming some of those mexes. T3 on the way for Fletcher's comm. We did see a cruiser come out here, but only one. I think that's the right choice. You don't need to over-invest in Navy. So now, despite the deceivers, they know what's there because it's completely smashed that little sally from zaebahy, and these two PDs are not going to be enough to defend against this. I mean, these artillery alone will take out the PDs. It's been pung, saying go get it with the gunships, and there's only one T1A in there, but there's flak right here, 2 pieces of flak at least, 3 pieces of flak, and that will easily see off the gunships. Meanwhile, a TMO takes out a second mechs, but there's an engineer there to replace it. Still, we'll sort him up because that was a T2 mechs. And not to be outdone, Banana is also getting into the naval game on this little pond. I would have preferred this pond so he can do some work over here while zaebahy continues over here. However, these gunships have discovered that there is indeed flak in there and they're backing away, and as if that weren't enough, an air force arrives from NTX. And these boys haven't as yet gone and engaged it. No point in engaging over the flak. Here's the monkey, but those bouncers, look at that. They just smash those vertical gunships. And it feels like this monkey is going to do some quite significant damage, and these chappies here could push in down here at the same time if Chiz were thinking about it while there was a force being distracted by the monkey. Broadswords massing over here for Bjorn. I think he's going to wait until he's got a decent number, and then there's because he's killed a decent amount of the bouncers, and if he can take out a couple more, then those broadswords should be able to come in and handle the monkey, as long as he also these knotters will do some good damage. And there's a little bit of T3 ASF from NTX, but I don't think it's enough to win this airfight. But Percy's are coming in from the left, and this push is indeed coming through the middle, while all the forces are engaged with the monkey up here. There are a couple of T3 support factories for Banan, and they would not be nice there because of the monkey. They would not be nice for him to lose. But I don't know how much traction this is going to get when there's a comm on his way to T3, lots of Oblivions queued up there. And I guess that there could be some Virtuals quickly put out in defense here, but also he's putting up turrets, which is, I think, a better choice for the immediate defense of the base. Those broadswords are easily cleaning up what's left of the unsupported in terms of anti-air bricks that came with the monkey, because he killed all the anti-air back here. And indeed the Nothers and a few more Virtuals and what teams are left come out. He's also of course got the HQ back here, come out and take these. He's going to lose a couple of mexes, I think, and he has lost all these factories, but it's nothing he can't reclaim. The Percys though have hit Bjorn's base here, and I was saying how this looked like a very nice base. Well, it doesn't look like a very nice base in the face of a big bunch of Percys. And thanks to the support of the ASFs, I think these broadswords will get the work done and will clear up the Percys. There's more coming, but they haven't got an answer to the broadswords right now. But they've done a lot of damage to Bjorn's eco. That said, Banana has rebuilt so much that, look at this, the team are now behind in eco, and the hot team are the ones with a lead of 70 now. However, look at this heap of reclaim. 30, 40, it's a good 40,000 mass. Oh, 700, there's 50,000 mass right there. and pretty much all of it can easily go into the hands of the hot team. So that could definitely help them out. Zaebahy did get the third mix there. But I think it's time to reclaim that TML. Now it's done what it can and recycle the mass into something else. We do have T2 on the way for Banan, and his 7 missile cruisers. They'll be able to range a little bit here as well, but I don't think they'll be able to get much further than here, so I don't know how useful that investment really is. SCU being dropped in to rebuild here is a rather CU, so that's one way that Bjorn is focusing on eco. Big mass of Nothers coming out here. And what's this I see here in my notifications? Chiz is building a nuke. Is there any nuclear defense yet? That's a planned SMD, but will it be done in time? GC on the way for zaebahy. Who looks like he's also got a nuke of his own planned. SMD sensibly on the way for Bjorn. But this, look at this, this is a big air raid that I see coming across the left-hand side. A lot of broadswords. What's Fletcher built? Well, Fletcher's built a Novax. But Fletcher was going to lose there here, and these broadswords are just going to pummel. Oh, that's a decent amount of air from NTX. And as is this from Banan. But those broadswords getting work done. Quite a lot of them are dying to the flak in here because there's several flak turrets. But if he can take them out, which I think he can, I see the GC finishing over here. And is that a T3 naval yard? Why, yes it is. We'll come back to that in a moment. Fight of Nothers coming up here from what? I have a sneaking suspicion that that might have been an accident. I think that that was an accidental Control K from Banan, and that he was hoping to get some work done with those Nothers. Big heap of bouncers comes in to counter the air from, and there's also a lot of SAMs here. That air's got in, but I don't think it's getting out. And there's not enough broadswords here to punch through the shields before the flak deals with at least a couple of them. Actually, I say that. Still chances to get some work done. Novax has headed for Bjorn, who is completely unshielded. Meanwhile, where's the GC go that's coming up here? 2 more monkeys from Chiz. Exploratory wave of Nothers gets popped out of the sky by the heaps and heaps of bouncers. That sounded like an SCU going up. There is being taken. Oh, because we've got another Percy push. Sorry if you're not seeing that one coming in. So Bjorn's desultory attempts to rebuild this base have been foiled by another big chunk of Percys. But Banan has a wave of Virtuals coming in, which should be able to do the damage. Actually, Bjorn got a decent amount of his fighters out of there. Though he didn't get as much done here as he'd hoped. 1 mechs, maybe? Hot team's still in the eco lead. And this GC could be causing some problems. I think that with this GC coming up here, and these Percys coming down here, they're diving into the water to get away from the gunships. I think it might be time to go to... On the left, here we see those Percys going through the water, and these Votals, now backed up by some Nothers, are going to get some kills, but it's this side where we really need to be focused, and those air units are out of position as the Percys pull out of the water here. But that's a lot of broadswords from Bjorn, and he's got Ravages going up here. NTX in the water on an upgrade. If he does finish it, he gets the T3. He's been pung. Oh, the air's all coming back here, and it's making short work of those Percys, but that nuke defense, given that we know Chiz has a nuke, that nuke defense is the target, and the nuke defense for Bjorn goes down. Meanwhile, the GC pops out of the water. There goes an SCU, and it's looking like the base for NTX is in big trouble. Percy's still coming in, but there's only a couple left, but there's the Novaks to worry about too. Shields go up, there's a decent number of shields, should be able to stop the Novaks, but then the last Percy dies. So let's go back to single screen and focus on this GC. And here we are, back with the GC. And it is getting quite significant damage done on NTX's base. Look, we've got these three Cerberus here, but what are they going to do to stop a 2-vet GC? And the whole thing is going up in smoke. All his support factories, all but one of his power plants. Air HQ about... What are you doing, Mr. GC? What are you doing? But while we're out here, what's this? A battleship and a torrent, which can probably range all the way up to about here for, yeah, look at this. It can hit Chiz's base from zaebahy, but there are also these two monkeys pushing down here, backed up by an enormous amount of AA and a push here. So maybe I called that split screen, single screen thing too soon. Let's go back to the split screen. On the left, Chiz's army attacks. On the right, a GC is making a mess of NTX's base. The army from Banan is going to engage this force belonging to Chiz, and that's a lot of Occums. I think it's going to make it, but it's not enough to stop these two monkeys. Do they even know about those monkeys? They don't. They haven't got a clue. They don't know there's an entire force of monkeys backed up by a vast amount of AA waiting off the screen here. Well, now they do because it's firing, or at least it should be able to guess, but they don't seem to be reacting much. These boys need to be putting up point defences and the like. But in come the monkeys, and is there an air response? Well, yes, there's a vast number of broadswords here, probably and a vast number of Nothers. But will that be enough to face this entire lot? Now, the GC has crushed that entire base, and it's standing still. There we go. It's now moving again, and it should be heading in over here, but Chiz has loaded his nuke, and he's also got a monkey in defense, and another one almost ready. In come the broadswords. In come the Nothers. One of the monkeys dies, but the air forces are having trouble dealing with that force of anti-air, and a lot of them are dropping out of the sky. And the GC is still quite some way away. Will it get to the nuke before it fires? Will the monkeys stop it? Well, they won't stop the nuke firing. Off it goes. We'll see where that lands in a moment. It seems as if there's just enough air to have eaten up that vast amount of AA support, but at what cost? The nuke looks like it's heading for Bjorn, and what we saw earlier, the Percys take out the SMD. He hasn't had a chance to build another. But meanwhile, the GC engages the monkeys. One monkey, two monkeys open fire. Boom goes Bjorn's base. And let's zoom back in on this monkey, which is about to die, but so is the nuke. The nuke explodes, taking out a lot of Chiz's base with it, but immediately afterwards the GC goes down. The monkey goes down at the same time. Whoa! All the action in 1 second, and that monkey did not get far enough to kill this SMD, which is almost loaded. Not that it matters now, because the shenanigan for Cheers, the nuke for Cheers has been destroyed, and here is a GC coming up from zaebahy. But on this side we can see there is that Othium force has carried on up the middle and is now smashing Cheers' base, but there are two monkeys on their way out to get it, and I think we can afford to go back to single screen now to watch this. Here we are as a large force of Othiums. I mean, that could certainly kill one monkey because this monkey is severely damaged. Might have a problem with the second. But there's a lot of Percys back here coming in from Fletcher, but they may be a bit late. But my dudes, why are you going this way with the Othiums? Go here, kill the monkey. I don't think this is going to get a great deal done. And meanwhile, we see that Fletcher has a second Novax, so we can see on the mini-map that the second Novax is going for Banan. Oh, this feels like it's all going to get picked off. This feels like a bad position for Banan. Speaking of nukes, though, what's this I see? Do I see a nuke submarine out for zaebahy? I do, and on top of that, I think I saw a notification saying he's started a nuke silo. So this is weapons of mass destruction all around. The Othiums come into Fletcher's base. The wave of Nothers also descend upon it, and some bombs get through, and one of the Novax is damaged but not destroyed. And the other Novax is damaged by the Othiums but not destroyed, and the monkey cleans it up. That felt like a big problem for the hot team. Two Novax damaged and not destroyed. This monkey not destroyed despite the fact it was in the red earlier. Well, Bjorn agrees with me. He's had enough. And Bjorn resigns. His stuff is inherited by Banani. zaebahy does have a GC coming across here. But that's a lot of Percys, and Percys are one of the best things to use against GCs, in my opinion. So we'll see whether they get anything done. And also, Banani has accidentally landed the units that he inherited from Bjorn, and so he lost quite a significant amount of air there. Out comes the GC. But there's a lot of Triad fire, there's a lot of Percy fire. The GC is not doing super well. We'll see what NTX has built in a moment. The GC tries to run, but it's too little too late, and it dies in Fletcher's territory. And I think I saw a notification there. So both the Novaxes have now come across here to work on Banana's main base. He has a load of Serra shields, which should be fine, but he has indeed started on this nuke here, so everybody's going for nukes. And where was that XP we saw from NTX? Here it is. It's a monkey, and we've got two more monkeys here from Chiz. So that's quite a lot of experimental force. And look at this. This is madness. Well, I say it's madness. That's overcompensation, perhaps. 22 TMDs to block those torrents from Chiz. And what can I say? They're doing their job. Meanwhile, NTX starts on a nuke as well. You thought we'd seen enough nukes? Nope. And we've now got 3 nuke subs out for zaebahy. So I foresee in the future a lot of nuclear fire going both ways. Yeah, these Novax, they're trying to get through to the air grid, and it's not getting them anywhere. That air grid is well shielded, they're Serra shields. It's not going to get through. Anti-nuke loaded for Banan. Anti-nuke not loaded for Chiz. Anti-nuke is loaded for Fletcher, but he hasn't got one over here. zaebahy does have one over here when it's loaded, which should cover here as well, I think. And he's got his nuke here, but has he actually got an SMD here? I don't see one, so this could be vulnerable. Restorer raid, zaebahy gives it a shot, but there's a bunch of ASFs here, and they're just going to die. And Fletcher builds a third Novax. Even though several shields might have trouble holding up against him now, and that's a big, massive Perseus we're going to have to watch out for. Wisely though, it looks like Fletcher is repositioning his Novaces to go and raid some more exposed stuff. These factories would be nice, because that's a big army. These mexes, these T3 unshielded mexes would be nice. This SMD would be nice. All of those are very good ideas for Novax targets. As things quieten down, let's have a quick look at the eco. Hot team ahead again. They are now 100, 250, 230-ish ahead in generated eco. And over the course of the whole game, they've collected 300,000 more mass. So these guys are a whole Novax ahead in mass. How's the kill ratio, though? They have the worst kill ratio, but it's not a huge difference. So, according to those stats, I feel Hot Team should be doing quite well, but it feels like Cold Team has the advantage, especially in terms of air and experimental, with those Novaces raining down fire. And look, that T3 Mex is going to be taken out in just a moment. They've taken out all those factories. And we have another Notha raid. Let's hope that this one does not get control-K'd. Where's it heading? Well, it's heading through in here, try and take out this at a base here. But there's also, what are the ASF counts like? I would measure, but it looks like we're about to have an air fight, so I'm not going to zoom in right now. And they don't want to engage over here, because that's a lot of bounces, that's a lot of SAMs here. That's an awful lot of SAMs. And the air launches from Fletcher, but the Nothers are over here unsupported, so they're just going to get shredded before they do anything. And these ASFs come in for the fight, but they come over the SAMs, they leave the gunships abandoned, and the gunships just get shredded by these SAMs and by these ASFs. That felt like a big misplay from Banan, who has just lost his whole crowd of Nothers and his whole crowd of gunships, and he's probably going to lose air there. But this is an important place to do it, because you've got Perseus coming out of the water. zaebahy has just finished another GC, which could come around here and defend, and I think that would be the right thing to do with it. But this is just good. For those with T3 Mexlin, this is just going to get walked over. zaebahy sending the GC over here. That feels wrong. That feels like a mistake. And those Novaces are now wandering over here, picking up more, picking up stuff from. They've picked up a lot of ion plants from zaebahy, who might be having some trouble with that. In come the Perseus, and again, Banan's air has just landed. He's got yet more Nothers, so he's really doubling down on the whole Notha thing. And to be fair, he does actually seem to have got a reasonable air win out of it, but if he lands like that, what's he gonna, in enemy territory, with these ASFs poking around, what's he gonna do? And this GC has gone all the way over here, and so zaebahy's main base is under threat from the Perseus, because this GC is not going to be finished in time, but his nuke sub, one of his nuke subs is loaded, and it gets a shot off. Where's that shot going? And his main base is also loaded and gets a shot off. So one of them is going up to where NTX has been rebuilding, and that could cause quite. And we've also got a nuke out from Banan, and we've also got an arse rusher out from Banan. So 3 nukes in the air. Boom! NTX survives by the skin of his teeth, but his base has been destroyed yet again. This base goes down to a nuke, and Fletcher uses a bit of eco, but the SMD easily picks up that nuke here, and zaebahy is about to lose everything. The arse rusher comes in, and it hits the Perseus with a lovely bomb, taking out most of them, but it's unsupported by ASFs, and it feels like it's just going down to this little trickle of ASFs from Fletcher, who sends in more to join the fight. And the Archwatch just runs away because it's going to die over here, and so it leaves these Percys. Meanwhile, the Novices have taken out the HQ on the sea for zaebahy, and they're going for the ones owned by Bjorn. But speaking of the things, there's already this sub under the water, and these other subs under the water, and he fires another nuke. But zaebahy's lost his main base here to those Percys. And does he really have anything to stop them taking out this little enclave here? I don't think he does. He trickles some units in, but there's a monkey here, and if they just trickle in like that, that monkey easily stops them. And that nuke, I think it went for Chiz, but it's being blocked by his SMD, which is still loaded. And this nuke's up fires. Where's that one going? I don't like that. He's aimed that here. Why there? Does he think NTX's comm is there? It might get that mechs, it might get some T1 factories, but... well, it gets the mechs, so it's killed 7,000 mass, which is not bad, but it felt like that positioning was poor and it could have done more. There would have been a nice place, for example. The GC from zaebahy, however, has been caught out of position, and no fewer than 4 monkeys from Chiz descend upon it. It's not even going to kill one, or not even going to get one into the red. And thanks to that, despite that huge Percy raid, Hot Teams still have the eco lead. Only 50 now. It's much reduced, but it's still there. And another... this Archwatcher is being reclaimed. Good work. And he's building another one with the mass. And he's also pumping out yet more Nothers. Meanwhile, the battleships... those 2 battleships, I think, were a waste. He'd already taken out everything within range, and the torrents were much more important. And there's nothing to defend them from their Novaxes. And the... look, they've killed basically nothing, and they're just going to die for free. And zaebahy also resigns. So, we have Bjorn against the world. But Bjorn's got just as much eco as his opponents combined. He's got nuke launchers everywhere, and he's got an Archwatcher. Who do you think's going to win? Tell me in the comments below. I won't know if you cheat and look at the end, but you will. In comes the Archwatcher. It's unsupported, and I don't like that because, oh, that's a lot of torp bombs. We'll follow them in a moment. But the Archwatcher drops its bomb, and it just dies because there's 18 SAMs there. Crash. One wasted Archwatcher. Are they going for that nuke sub? Yes, they are. And we have another nuke out. Where's it headed? Well, it's headed straight for Fletcher's base, and that's going to get nothing because he's got a nuke defense there, and he's already built another one. On the first pass, they miss, but on the second pass, the torp bombers get the nuke sub. However, that cruiser is finally beginning to do some work and shoots a few of them down. Have they got a lock on the other nuke subs? There's flak here now, but that's it. But Bjorn brings in his ASFs and kills the remaining torp bombers. So, I think we can afford to speed the game up a little bit at this stage. Let's go just to +3, because we're in a bit of a lull, and now we're looking at things more on the macro scale. We've got a megalith from Chiz and a monkey from NTX coming down here. And I don't think there's a great deal to stop them in zaebahy's old base. These, however, could do good work. That's a lot of Vothels. He's still got UEF tech, but he hasn't got the air HQ. He could rebuild it, but that does mean that until he does so, he's stuck with only Vothels, which, well, obviously they're the best T2 gunship. They're not as good as Broadies. And those Novaks come and start eating up zaebahy's old base again. Nope, they're heading straight back for Banan's main base. And I was about to say I think that's an issue, but his shield went down for a second there. And that nuke is loaded though. He could still take that. He could re-kill that. Since that's nowhere near loaded.
Strategic launch detected.
And he does nuke, but meanwhile, those nuke subs have been taken out by the Mega's torpedoes, and the Mega is coming into zaebahy's old base. Nah, Chiz is loaded up with anti-nukes, that's going to be shut down, and it is. So the Mega and the Monkey, this raid feels like a mistake. He's going forward to game, but he just hasn't got the air support, and there's so many SAMs. There's so many SAMs now. There are 54 SAMs for Fletcher, and now that that Monkey's joined in, this base is just going down, no problems. I think the tipping point has passed. And what can Banani pull out of his sleeve to clear it up? The Monkey is going to head down to this corner where there's also nothing to stop it, and Hot Team are at last behind in eco, and there's 120-ish eco lead. Okay, down to 100 for Cold Team. Here comes that Monkey, and more Arthrush and Rex there. Didn't even see that one. Here comes the Monkey, and it's gonna eat all this up like nobody's business. Oh, this is painful, poor old Banan. Oh, I didn't speed it up quite fast enough again. Back to +3. And he's working on T3 Arty. Another nuke goes out, and it's going for Chiz, but I think Chiz has got more than enough to stop it. Yeah, he's loaded, and he's got a second one also loaded. So, nuke play is basically over unless that Arty can break through and take out the anti-nukes, and Fletcher's Air Force is just crushing any forays made by those of Banan. A Mega is now on Banan's doorstep and going for the air grid, and the Nothers he's trying to pop out and kill it just aren't getting the work done. He's putting up a chicken to try and defend it, but his egg was going to be dead by the time that that chicken goes up. And the Arty is complete, and it's firing on... Where's it targeted? Looks like it's going for Fletcher's air grid, which I can understand. Oh, yeah, it's going for Fletcher's air grid. Doesn't look like it's got quite enough to get through, and meanwhile that chicken is completed and walks out against the Mega. But there's another Mega coming in. The chicken tries to micro against the Mega's fire, but against two Megas it's not going to make it. And it just pops. The Iron Storm will damage the Mega a bit. And now that there are some more Nothers, there's actually quite a decent number of Nothers because Fletcher's air was well out of position. It takes out one of the Megas. But Fletcher's air comes in and kills off the Nothers, and there's still another Mega right here. So some of those shields are flickering as the Arty rains down on it. Another Arty would do the trick, but look at the eco difference now. Cold Team has twice the eco of poor old Banan now that all of this has been taken out. And his Arty rains down upon the air grid, but it's not enough. And we have a Mavor. We have a Mavor nearly complete for Fletcher. The Arty does get through and actually takes out an air factory. It's not the HQ. The HQ is here. Takes out a mech as well. That's where Arty's getting through. These Novaxes aren't. And the Megas have finally been driven back by a string of chickens. But when the Novaxes are backed up by the Mavor, which is nearly done, a bit more damage being done by the Arty here. and the Mavor goes up. And as if that weren't enough, there are 4 monkeys and a mega coming down the middle. There's a mega here which is fighting this chicken, and the mega's gonna win. There's a monkey here with 5 vets coming in from the side. Another chicken goes up, but it's too little too late. And we see the first Mavor shells coming out. This monkey walks in the side. A desperation nuke fires out from Banani, but it's nowhere near enough. This monkey is in. The Mavor breaks through the shields. The Novaxes are in. And there's these 5 boys coming down from the north, as if that weren't enough. What can Banani do in this situation? I will tell you what Banani can do. The answer is nothing. Does Banani agree with me? I keep calling him Banani because he's not. He's Banan too, not Banani, who is a different player entirely. Banan 2. Banan 2 control Ks in the face of this push, and the Code team wins the game with no losses, despite a couple of close calls up here for NTX. So, why don't you go down to the comments and tell me what you think you would have done differently if you were in the hot team's position. Where did they lose it? I think they wasted a little too much of their air and their mass on the air trying to break through here, because they just flew there and died several times. Whereas if they'd focused a little more on the RT, a little more on the nukes, they could have broken through and stopped those Novaces, and therefore stopped the Mavor. But didn't crack the shell, and they all died. So while you're down there telling me what you would have done in Banana's place, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and obey. I am the Commissar, and I will see you next time.